So in the run-up to the AWS reInvent, there are lots of new announcements that come around this time, and one of such announcements was done about a couple of weeks back is around a new capability at the organization level called resource control policies. You might already be aware of service control policies. Resource control policies also are something similar, but they cater to a different need. Now, before we understand what resource control policies are, let's try to refresh our memory about what service control policies are, and then we will talk about resource control policies. So essentially, service control policies are policy which you can define in your organizational hierarchy. Now, when I say organization, I mean an AWS organization which helps you establish a set of account in a hierarchy. You have the root account and you can create organizational units. Organizational units are essentially combination of AWS accounts lumped together in a logical construct like a function or a department or an environment, something like that. And you have multiple organization units. Each organization unit has AWS accounts. Now, service control policies can be applied to either the root level or the OU level or at the account level. Now, what service control policies do is, suppose there are 100 things that you can do in a specific AWS account. Using service control policies, you can restrict the number of things that you can do inside that account. And typical use cases are if you want to restrict IAM identities from provisioning resources or provisioning resources in a certain region. So essentially, it provides you to set boundaries. It doesn't give you any permission, service control policies, but it allows you to set boundaries. And these boundaries are applicable to all the identities, like if you are an IAM user or a federated identity or an IAM role, and even to the root users. Even if you have admin privileges, if a certain service is restricted by a service control policy, you won't be able to provision that or work with that based on what kind of restrictions is put in place using that service control policy. Now, service control policies are very similar to IAM roles like JSONs, in which you can define what restrictions you want to put in place. Now, resource control policies are also very similar. However, they are applied for the resources and not specifically for IAM identities. And what you can do with resource control policies is define what kind of access do your resources have. And things like only certain IAM identities can access the resource, or you can define things like only principals from your own organization can access a certain resource. And since you are defining it at an organizational level, like at the account level or the OU level or the root level, even if your resources have been given permissions with IAM, they are invalidated because you have already set up resource control policies. So to give you an example, if a team creates an S3 bucket and they have allowed access to an additional different AWS account to access the bucket, and this is given using an IAM permission and a role, if you have resource policies defined at the account or OU level or the organization level, this permission cannot be used. Essentially, even accidentally or intentionally, you cannot provide permissions to these resources. So that's what resource control policies do. They are also very similar to IAM permissions, and you can define them using JSON. And also at this point in time, only a few services are under the purview of resource control policies. I think they are S3 Secret Manager, SQS, and KMS. I probably am missing another one, but yeah, a small set of services so far, but possibly more services will be added to the purview later. So that's what resource control policies are. Hope you liked it. See you in the next one.